I loved it when CB first came to Bartlesville and said, I think this is a great place for, we just saw it as a college then, never dreamed it would be a university. He had vision that really came from God, and he could see what no one else could see.
And then when you think of him and Mabel, and I believe they were married for 72 or 73 years and knew each other as children growing up in Fredonia, Kansas. And when you read about how they came to Bartlesville, it's almost like they, stepped off the ark and said, this is where we will build our church and this is where we will build our school. And what a testament both their church, the Wesleyan Church, and the university is to their legacy.
Charles Benjamin Colaw, affectionately known as CB by friends and family, grew up in a farming household in Wilson County, Kansas. Not far away lived a young woman by the name of Mabel Kauth, also the child of a farming family. Each day, CB and Mabel walked several miles to attend a one-room schoolhouse in the nearby town of Fredonia, Kansas. They attended church together. As they grew older, they fell in love. In 1937, they married. The couple's life took a new turn in 1946, when CB and Mabel committed themselves to full-time Christian ministry. They served churches in Kansas and Oklahoma. In 1956, CB was elected district supervisor, supporting churches across the state of Oklahoma. The role required CB to travel around the state, and in the course of events, he was given another responsibility, to help find a new home for a Wesleyan college.
Well, I remember that I was going with Dad to one of the business meetings at a church in Blue Jacket, Oklahoma. He was district supervisor over the area. And out west of town here somewhere, he had a flat tire, 59 Ford.
What happened next changed history. After changing the flat tire, CB and his 13-year-old son, Max, pulled into the Phillips 66 gas station in downtown Bartlesville. While waiting, CB noticed an advertisement in the window. A piece of property was for sale, and Mr. Scott took him to see the property. When CB arrived, what he saw was an answer to prayer. In H.V. Foster's La Quinta mansion, CB saw the centerpiece of a college campus, and the acreage around it, he saw an opportunity for expansion as the college grew. And in Bartlesville, he recognized a welcoming community that the college could call home.
Dad was a visionary, and one of the things Dad always taught us and was a practice in his life was that you don't say can't.
For CB and Mabel Colaw, faith and hard work were inseparable. It was a lesson they passed along to their children in very practical ways.
You didn't sit around or stand around with CB. It was always demanding that you work. And he would always say, never let them find out they can get along without you. Do your work so well that they cannot get along without you.
One of the things I remember he said so many times was, when you're doing something, work as it all depended on you, and pray as if it all depended on God.
This attitude explains how CB was able to bring church leaders to share his vision for relocating their college to Bartlesville. Beginning with 80 students in 1959, Oklahoma Wesleyan University now offers more than 65 undergraduate programs, 5 graduate programs, and serves over 1,600 students in Bartlesville, Tulsa, and online.
One thing that everyone in the community recognizes is that Oklahoma Wesleyan University is really C.B. Colaw's university. We're here because of him. Oklahoma Wesleyan came to Bartlesville because of C.B.'s vision. And where would the church be? Where would the community be? Where would many of our local leaders be without C.B.'s college?
It also explains why the church they planted in Bartlesville would prosper and multiply its ministry.
Who would have ever dreamed that that would have all taken place, and that I would come back and be the pastor to help work in that setting? And I'm grateful for that. Somebody has to dream a dream, and we all get to participate in the process. So I think there's a rich legacy in it that has a dynamic influence into this community in a powerful way.
The combination of vision and determination also helps explain key roles that CB and Mabel's children and grandchildren would play in the Bartlesville community and beyond. Their 6 children, Charles, Renee, Max, Stephen, Joe, and Judy, their 17 grandchildren, and their 51 great-grandchildren have served as pastors and police officers, as community leaders and business owners, as husbands, wives, sons, daughters, and neighbors, all convinced that their efforts served a larger purpose than just themselves.
I think, and Dad had often said that, whether you're a preacher or not, you still have a ministry and you have a mission. And my family is made up of lots of preachers. I am one who is not. But Dad often said that you still have a ministry because of your engagement within the community.
CB modeled that message. Committed as he was to the church and the college, he participated in multiple boards in the city, and for 38 years he was a member of the Bartlesville Rotary Club, serving a term as club president and becoming a Paul Harris Fellow. As CB crossed paths with other leaders in the city, he constantly proved a source of steady wisdom and encouragement.
CB just always had a twinkle in his eye. We sat on a board together for several years, and there were some trying times on that board, and he didn't say much, but when he spoke, everyone listened to what he had to say.
He was a dear friend and a very choice individual to have around. I had the opportunity to rely on his wisdom on many occasions, but I can remember one specific thing where I was somewhat disillusioned by reactions of an individual, and he very carefully told me to don't look on the short term, look on the long term as far as the individual goes.
One of the things that he would always say too, remember the battles. Is it the battles you want to win, or is it the war? Remember that. And so in coaching, there's a lot of little battles, but you always want to win the big war.
Mabel embodied the same spirit as she volunteered, as she traveled, as she welcomed guests into their home, and as she taught and encouraged her family.
One of the things that Mom taught me was to be a hostess and to be a pastor's wife, and to care for people and love people at their point of need. We never left for school without praying together as a family.
He was the only grandfather that our 4 children had. I'm sorry. And he loved our kids so much, and they loved him. They thought he hung the moon.
CB and Mabel Colaw have left a lasting legacy. That legacy includes a vision to see the possible, a commitment to bring it about, and a spirit to walk the path with hope and compassion.